Hey there, sunshine. How you doing? Look, look, look. I have the sunshine water bottle. I'm really kind of obsessed with my sunshine water bottle. But listen, it's time for true crime at lunchtime, and we need to talk. Todd Mullis. Have you seen this case? First of all, he's a hot farmer, right? But possibly a teensy bit homicidal, which, I don't know about you, but if a man has killed his wife, undateable. That takes him right off the list. He is automatically undateable. But did he kill her? Unclear. Let me tell you what happened. This case is called the Cornrake murder trial. It was on court TV about maybe 3 years ago. And this one was really a head scratcher. Ooh, I say as my head starts to itch. Okay, so look. This dude, Todd Mullis, he's a pig farmer. Ew. I know we have to have sausage and everything, but I can't even imagine living on a pig farm. But God bless all of our farm people because we need farms. So anyway, Todd Mullis is a pig farmer, and he has these big giant barns that are like the size of a football field. That's a lot of pigs. And he had his wife, Amy, and they had 3 kids, right? So Amy was like, being a farmer's wife is nice. She was also a nurse. She was working at the hospital, and she was getting her a little something on the side. Okay, I guess that happens after a long marriage. Not after my long marriage, but that happens. So she was getting herself a little bit estranged, and Todd found out about it. Oh, and Todd was none too pleased because in addition to being a pig farmer, he was also like a macho man, right? Everybody wants to be a macho man. He was super mad that his wife was out here getting a little something on the side. So they had a big fight. They were going to break up, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, wait, if she divorces me or I divorce her, I'm going to have to give her half these pigs. And what I'm not going to do is give away half my farm. So let's see if we can work it out. So I'm like, okay, that's good. That's good. So they decide to work it out. She stops working at the hospital. She's going to work at home, which if you don't like him that much, working right there with him all day, every day, that's probably not going to be a good idea. But okay, whatever. She decides to start working from home. So, working at home there on the farm. So she has some sort of surgery. They don't say what surgery it is. I've watched a bunch of different episodes about this case, and nobody ever says what the surgery is. HIPAA, I guess. I wonder if it was a Brazilian butt lift. But something tells me if she's like a farmer's wife, she does not have a lot of use for a BBL. But whatever. So she had some sort of surgery. She had been homesick. Just staying in the house, sick, watching the kids, doing whatever. And this particular day is her first day up and about there on the farm. So Todd is there, his 13-year-old son is there, and they're getting ready because a new batch of piglets is coming in. So they're just doing chores around the barn. And she was like, ooh, I'm feeling kind of woozy. And Todd was like, okay, why don't you go back to the house and lay down? This is your first day after the surgery. You take it easy. And me and our 13-year-old son will finish working here in the barn, in the big barn. But he was like, listen, Amy, on your way back to the house, stop in the red shed and get out a pet carrier because I want to put some kittens in there. Farm kittens. Oh, I love farm kittens. I'm totally allergic to cats, but little cute little kittens. Oh, I love a fluffy kitty. So anyway, so he was like, but listen, I know you're feeling dizzy. If it's too heavy, just leave it sitting there and I'll take care of it later. So she's like, okay. So they keep working in the barn for another couple of hours. Everything is great. So they finish up. They're like, okay, let's go over here to the office and do the paperwork. I don't know what pig paperwork they have, but they had some pig paperwork to do. So they're in there doing the paperwork, and Todd looks up and he realizes, I don't see the pet carrier outside by the red building where I told Mom to go get it. It was the red shed where the pet carrier was. So he says to his son, now 2 hours now after he sent his wife to the house, he said to his son, go check on Mom, which I was like, that's interesting and maybe a clue for later on because 2 hours later, Mom should have been in the house laying down, feet up, watching soap operas, whatever. So the 13-year-old son goes into the red building, the red shed, and he finds Mom laid on the floor with a corn fork stuck in her back. And he's like, whoa, Mom is dead, Mom is dead. So he comes out and Todd is like, what? So he comes out and he's like, oh, Amy, my dear, you appear to be dead. So he yanks the fork out of her back, scoops her up, puts her in the truck. Well, he says to his son, go get the truck. That's how you know it's a farm kid. My 15-year-old is tall enough to drive a car. Would I let him drive the Camry? No, I would not. So anyway, he says to his son, go get the truck. His son drives up in the truck and jumps in the back seat of the car, jumps someplace in the car. Todd takes his wife, puts his nearly dead. She got a bunch of holes in her back from a corn fork. in the car. And a corn fork apparently is like, remember that old farming picture where it's like a dour looking man, a dour looking wife, and they're standing there and there's a fork between them? That's a corn fork. It has the really long pointy tines on it that are like 8 to 12 inches long, but very, very sharp, very heavy duty, also made of metal. So he's like driving down the road, speeding, taking his wife to the hospital. And then he's like, oh, I should probably also call 911. So he's like, hello, 911. My wife, she fell on a corn fork. It was a terrible accident. And they were like, where are you? She said, they said, I'm bringing her to the hospital. They were like, wait, you're on the road? He was like, yeah, I figured it was faster if I drive her. So they were like, no, pull over and we'll have the ambulance meet you. So he's like, okay, great idea. So he pulls over and the lady on the phone was like, okay, I'm going to talk you through CPR. And so he's talking, the lady on the phone is talking him through CPR, and then like the ambulance comes, the sheriff comes, they're like looking at everything. They take the lady off to the hospital where she's pronounced dead. Very sad. So they're like, okay, so Todd, tell us what happened today. And he was like, cleaning the barn, sent her to the red shed. I found her there. It's very sad. But he was just like total flat affect, like she was in the barn and she got dead. So I was like, okay, like you can't go by somebody's demeanor. I don't know how I would react if I found my partner dead. Although based on my previous videos, y'all would suspect that I did it, but I really, really did not. But anyway, so they were like, okay, Todd, we're going to do a little more research. You go on home. And so the medical examiner looks at her body and was like, listen, can you give me that fork? What, bring me the corn fork. So they bring the corn fork and the medical examiner was like, this math is not mathing. There's 4 tines on the fork, but the holes on her body, 6 of them, which means somebody stabbed her with the fork, pulled it out, and stabbed her again. That does not seem accidental, because it's not like you're going to fall on it, get up, and then fall on it again. That's not how that works. So Todd was like, I don't know. I have an airtight alibi because my son, he was sitting right here beside me and he was working in the barn with me. We were never out of each other's sight. So they asked the son and he was like, yeah, my dad was never out of my sight. So the cops were like, okay. And the district attorney started talking to her girlfriends and her girlfriends were like, look, let me tell you something, Mr. and Mrs. District Attorney. Amy hated him, felt trapped in the house, felt like she couldn't leave the marriage because he was dangerous. The DA was like, oh. And then they were like, so who was she dating? Oh, she was dating a dude that worked there at the farm who was also married? Great. We gonna talk to him. So they go talk to him and he was like, yeah, I was like giving it to her. And, but she told me that, if Todd found out, he was gonna kill me. He was gonna kill us. Sir, these are signs you need to leave this lady alone. Her husband is a farmer, is murdery, likely has guns, and is known to like want to kill people who touch his wife. But you think somehow it's a good idea you just go tiptoe up there and go on and get with the wife? You stupid. Anyway, so he was like, yeah, she kept talking about that, like, he would kill her. And the friends, Amy said to her friends, so listen, if I go missing, here's the part of the farm you should look for me on. And the district attorney was like, for real? She told you exactly the spot? Amy was like, the friends were like, yeah. Amy knew exactly where he would throw her body. So they started looking again, and then they went and talked to the son again. And the son was like, the father was never out of my sight, except for I did go get a glass of water and I did go do this and I did go do that. So they were like, oh, so your daddy was out of your sight for a little while. And he was like, my daddy was out of my sight for a little while, but I don't think he murdered my mom, but he don't have that tight of airtight alibi. So the case goes to court. Now, in the time it takes this case to go to court, this sort of like dumpy farmer loses weight, gets a cut jaw, gets all buff. All these ladies online are like, ooh, hey, farmer daddy, how you doing? So they form like a Facebook group like, we love Todd and we don't think he killed her. Ladies, if he is accused of murder, undateable. So anyway, girls, I made this room specifically so the dogs would not come up here and bother me while I was recording, but alas, they're here. And they're very barcacious. Anyway, so the ladies on Facebook form a little support group and they're like, free Todd. We want him to be free. Everything's going to be okay. Ooh, he's hot. We're going to rub down his muscles with oil. So the court case starts happening. Child, the true crime sleuths started to weigh in and turn the whole case upside down. Let me tell you what I mean. First of all, in the court case, they have her girlfriends up there going, oh yeah, she was like, oh, he gonna kill me. He gonna hide me right over there. Just look right over there. And that's where you're gonna find my body. Okay, please and thank you. And then her boyfriend took the stand, and her boyfriend was like, yes, she and I were having a physical affair. Sir, if he gets off, he's gonna kill you first, next. So you should maybe be careful. But the attorney was like, so the last time you spoke to her, did you have a physical interaction? And he was like, no, it was just oral. Sir, does your wife have a television? You might not want to be saying that. So then they were like, so how did you get together? So he was like, oh yeah, we used to get together in the back of the barn and over in the woods and on the side of the road. Now y'all make her look like a trollop. I was like, okay, this don't look good. But okay. And then there was the internet searches. Listen, Google is going to capture more people than the Ring doorbell. People, clear your history. Throw that iPad in the lake. What are you thinking? So then the district attorney was like, and now, sir, we have your iPad with the Google searches on it. And he was like, those are not my searches. And she's like, okay, let's just read some of these little searches. Punishment for a cheating wife. How much time will you get in jail for murdering a cheating wife? Like, what did they do back in the olden days when your wife cheated? How did they murder her for cheating? Todd, sir, you're going to learn to clear your cache, search on incognito. I don't know what they call it, but there's like a secret search you could do. You might have want to did those searches in secret. But he was like up on the farm stuff, not up on the computer stuff. Clearly, he didn't know what he was doing. And so then they played the 911 tapes of him being like doing the CPR on the side of the road. Ooh, and those internet sleuths. Child, internet sleuths got unlimited Wi-Fi and nothing but free time. And they came to play. So the internet sleuths are all watching this on court TV, and they were like, oh, well, let's take this little tape and slow it down and play it back. And so one of the internet sleuths was like, dear district attorney, listen to this. And so what the internet sleuths saw, but the district attorney did not see or hear, was that as he was given that CPR, now, you know you're being recorded, right? He was saying, die, you evil S. Die, you evil trollop. La, 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 la. You stupid B, Bob. Between, like, the life-saving measures. Todd, slip of the tongue? So, listen. Todd's lawyers was like, he was just counting to 3. 1, 2, 3. Sounds like die, you evil B. I was like, oh, okay. So they played that over. And so to hear it, you know, you play something once, you're like, did I hear that? Did I not hear that? In court, the district attorney kept playing it over and over and over and over and saying, you hear it, right? Die, you evil B. Die, you evil B. And I was like, okay, internet sleuths, y'all are kind of undefeated. Although sometimes you make things way, way worse, but it's super interesting when you see and hear things that other people didn't see. So, the district attorney kept reiterating about this 911 tape. And then the jury went to deliberate, and it took them, I think they said 7 or 8 hours. That's a whole day, maybe 2, depending on what time they start deliberating. They had a nice lunch, maybe a breakfast. What did they serve? I'm curious about the state of bagels in Iowa. Do you have the good ones? Or do you think like a Linder's frozen bagel is a bagel? That's not a bagel. That's just a round piece of bread, but that's a conversation for another day. So anyway, so the jury comes back and they're like, guilty. And then the jury goes on 48 Hours, the TV show, and they were like, please don't use my name, but please use my entire face and don't hide my voice at all. But yeah, please don't use my name. Ma'am, we can still find you. You live in a small town in Iowa where this case took place. Like, you think people can't? Okay, yeah. That's like me going, okay, now you can no longer see me because there's a bar over my eye. Remember when they used to do that? They used to just put like a bar over people's eyes. Child, we can still see who you was. So anyway, they find him guilty, and then he hires a new lawyer, and then he goes back to court, and he's like, yeah, those web sleuths, they messed up my whole situation. And the 14-year-old son was like, yeah, my dad was out of my sight for a long period of time, but like, I don't know what he was doing. Didn't seem like I was gone that long, but I might have been gone a little bit of time. I might have been gone a lot of time. So daddy ain't have no alibi. The web searches and the internet sleuths brought this whole thing to a close. And so now Ty got LWOPed. That is right, friends. Life without the possibility of parole. where he sits there very, very mad. I bet you he's still mad at that wife, right? He was just like, if only I had just said 1, 2, 3 instead of die you evil bee. If that's what he said, because we don't even know, maybe I would be free today to go date some of these women who think I'm hot and possibly kill one of them, unalive them too, if they don't act right. But, you know, if he gets out, the very, very first person he's going after, that farmhand. Oh, and one other little detail I forgot to leave in there. There was all these cameras around on the farm. The day of this unaliving with the Cornrake, the cameras weren't working. They worked the day before, the day after. Just bad luck. They didn't work on that day. Todd, sir, you was a little bit tech savvy, and now you a very lot prison. You in prison, you locked up with a man named Bubba as your new roommate. Enjoy that. Also, don't kill your wife. It's bad karma. It's bad all around. Okay, you gonna wash your hands, wipe your mouth. Now that lunchtime is over, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow for more True Crime at Lunchtime, or Lunchtime True Crime, whichever this one is called. Until then, you have a great day. Bye.